Hello, my dear friends. My name is Amelia. I am 37 years old, and I work as a professor at a well-known university. I have been teaching for many years, and I truly love what I do. Teaching is not just my profession, it is something that gives meaning to my life. Every time I step into my classroom, I feel excited to meet my students, to share new ideas, and to see their curious faces eager to learn. I have blonde hair and blue eyes, and people often say that I look friendly and kind. Some people even tell me that I am pretty, but I don't think beauty is only about how a person looks. For me, real beauty lives in the heart, in kindness, honesty, and respect. When someone speaks softly, helps others, or smiles sincerely, that is what I call true beauty. I always try to live by these values and make people feel comfortable around me. I was born and raised in a small town surrounded by nature. Life there was peaceful and simple. My parents were both hardworking people who believed deeply in education. They used to tell me, "Amelia, knowledge is a light that never fades." Those words became the foundation of my life. I still remember sitting by the window with a book in my hands, dreaming of becoming a teacher one day. Now, when I stand in front of my students, I sometimes remember my childhood dreams. I realize that I am living the life I once imagined. My parents' advice still echoes in my mind, guiding me through challenges and reminding me to stay humble and passionate. Teaching for me is not just about giving lessons, it's about touching lives and inspiring others to believe in themselves. Teaching has always been more than a job to me. It feels like a beautiful journey that connects hearts and minds. Every student I meet has a different story, a different dream, and a different way of seeing the world. When I walk into my classroom, I don't just see faces. I see future doctors, artists, writers, and leaders. That thought fills me with happiness and pride. I remember the first time I taught a class. I was nervous, my hands were shaking, and my voice was soft. But when I looked at my students, I saw curiosity in their eyes. They were waiting for me to begin, and somehow, that gave me courage. I took a deep breath and started my lesson. From that day on, I knew this was where I belonged. Over the years, I have learned that teaching is not only about giving knowledge, it is also about listening, understanding, and encouraging. Sometimes my students come to me with personal problems. They tell me about their struggles, their fears, and their dreams. I listen carefully because I know that a kind word can make a big difference in someone's life. Whenever I see a student who feels lost or unsure, I remind them that it's okay to make mistakes. We all learn through them. I often say, don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid of not trying. And when I see my students smiling, trying again, and finally succeeding, I feel a quiet joy in my heart. That is the true reward of being a teacher. Among all the students I have taught, there is one I will never forget. His name was Ethan. He joined my class a few years ago, and from the very first day, I noticed that he was quiet, almost too quiet. While other students laughed and talked, Ethan usually sat alone in the last row, his eyes lowered and his notebook half empty. At first, I thought he was shy, but as weeks passed, I realized something deeper. He was struggling, not just with studies, but with life itself. One afternoon, after class, I gently asked him to stay behind. I smiled and said, "Ethan, I can see you're trying, but something seems to be bothering you. Would you like to talk?" He hesitated, then looked at me with tired eyes and said softly, "I don't think I'm good at anything, ma'am." Those words broke my heart. I sat beside him and told him, "Ethan, everyone is good at something. Sometimes we just need time to discover what it is." I started helping him after class, little by little, explaining lessons again, asking him questions, and encouraging him to share his thoughts. Slowly, he began to change. His voice grew stronger, his answers more confident, and his smile returned. By the end of the year, Ethan gave one of the best presentations in class. The same boy who once sat silently now stood proudly in front of everyone, speaking with courage and grace. After his presentation, he came to me and said, "Thank you, ma'am. You made me believe in myself." That moment was one of the most precious gifts of my teaching life. Since then, I've understood that teaching is not only about books and lessons, it's about giving hope. Sometimes all a person needs is someone who believes in them. After meeting Ethan, something inside me changed. For years, I had been teaching lessons from books, grammar, literature, and writing, but I realized that the greatest lessons in life are not written on paper. They are written in people's hearts. Ethan taught me that sometimes a teacher learns more from a student than the student learns from a teacher. I began to see my classroom differently. Every desk was not just a place for study. It was a space filled with dreams, worries, and stories waiting to be heard. I started paying more attention, not only to how my students performed, but how they felt. When I saw someone quiet or lost in thought, I tried to reach out. Even a small word of encouragement, a smile, or a gentle question could make a difference. Ethan's story also reminded me of my own struggles. There was a time in my life when I, too, doubted myself. When I was a young student, I was afraid of speaking in front of others. My hands would shake, my voice would tremble, and I often thought I wasn't good enough. But my teacher believed in me. She used to say, "Amelia, your voice matters. Don't hide it." Those words helped me become the person I am today. Now, whenever I teach, I remember her, and I remember Ethan. Their stories live within me. They remind me that teaching is not about perfection, it's about connection. It's about seeing the light inside every person, even when they can't see it themselves. When the day ends and the classroom becomes silent, I often sit by the window in my office for a few minutes before going home. The soft light of the sunset fills the room, and everything looks peaceful. Those quiet moments help me think, not about grades or reports, but about life itself. Sometimes I think about how fast time passes. Years ago, I was a young girl with dreams in her heart. Now I am the professor I once wanted to be. I smile at the thought, but I also realize how much I have learned along the way, not only from books, but from people, from mistakes, and from moments of silence. When I return home, I like to keep things simple. I make myself a cup of tea, sit on the balcony, and watch the sky change its colors. That is my favorite part of the day. It's the time when I feel thankful for my students, for the chance to teach, and for the small joys that fill my life. Sometimes, I write in my journal. I write about my classes, about the laughter I heard that day, or about the shy smile of a student who finally understood a lesson. These little memories remind me that life's beauty often hides in small things, a kind word, a thoughtful look, or a quiet moment of peace. Even though I spend my days surrounded by people, I also love my solitude. It helps me listen to my own heart. And every time I sit alone, I whisper a small prayer of gratitude for the life I've been given. A life filled with purpose, learning, and love. As I look ahead, I often wonder what the future will bring. Life is full of surprises, some joyful, some difficult, but each one teaches us something important. I don't know where time will take me, but I do know one thing. I will always keep learning. I believe that learning never ends. Whether we are young or old, every day offers us a chance to grow, to understand, and to become a little wiser. My dream for the future is simple. I want to continue teaching, continue inspiring, and continue touching hearts. I want my students to remember not only what I taught, but how I made them feel confident, valued, and strong. Because one day, when they face challenges, I hope they will remember my words. Believe in yourself, even when no one else does. Sometimes when I walk through the empty halls of the university, I can almost hear the voices of my past students, their laughter, their questions, their excitement. It reminds me that a part of me stays with each of them. just as a part of them stays with me. That is the most beautiful thing about teaching, the connection that never truly ends. As I sit here tonight, looking at the soft glow of the lamp beside me, I feel thankful, deeply thankful for everything that life has given me. Teaching has brought me many challenges, but it has also filled my heart with countless blessings. Every smile, every question, every thank you from my students has become a memory that I treasure. Sometimes I wonder if my students will ever know how much they have taught me about patience, courage, and love. They helped me see the world through younger eyes, full of hope and possibility. And in return, I tried to give them what I could, not only knowledge, but also belief in themselves. When I close my eyes, I see a classroom full of light, students raising their hands, sharing ideas, helping one another. That image stays in my heart and reminds me why I chose this path. I didn't become a professor to be perfect. I became one to be human, to learn, to guide, and to grow together. And so, my journey continues. Every sunrise brings a new lesson, a new face, and a new story. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I'm ready to welcome it, with kindness, with hope, and with gratitude. Because at the end of every day, I know that a grateful heart is the true sign of a meaningful life. Thank you, my dear friends, for spending your time with me and listening to my story. I truly hope that, in some small way, my words have touched your heart. Life is a long journey, sometimes bright, sometimes cloudy, but every moment teaches us something special. If there's one thing I've learned through all these years, it's that we should never stop learning. Learning is not only about books or classrooms. It's about listening, observing, feeling, and growing a little more each day. Every person you meet, every challenge you face, and every dream you chase, all are teachers in their own way. To all my students, and to everyone learning English through stories like this one, remember, progress takes time. Don't be afraid of mistakes. They are proof that you are trying. Speak with confidence, listen with patience, and believe that one day, you will reach your goals. And as you learn, don't forget to enjoy the journey. Smile at your progress, no matter how small it seems. Celebrate your efforts, and never compare yourself to others. Everyone's path is different, and that's what makes life beautiful. So, if you are listening to my story today, remember this: your voice matters, your dreams matter. You don't have to be perfect to make a difference. Just be kind, stay curious, and never stop believing in yourself. And as for me, my name is Amelia, a woman with blonde hair, blue eyes, and a heart full of stories. I am not just a professor. I am a learner, a dreamer, and a believer in the beauty of life. I thank you, truly, for being here with me today. Until we meet again in another story, keep learning English with love, hope, and a smiling heart. So as I close this story, I leave you with one message from my heart: be kind, be curious, and never stop believing in the power of learning.